Hi, good morning. Welcome to the 2022 edition of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Small Business Industry Day. My name is Luke Payne, NOAA Small Business Program Manager, and I want to thank everyone that's participating today. And a special thanks to our host, the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. Rundown of today's event includes opening remarks from Gigi Godwin, presentations from a couple of our acquisition and grants office branch chiefs, Eric Olmstead and Jay Standring. A few words from Amy Kim, Area Director of the Office of Government Contracting, Grade 2, with the Small Business Administration. And the morning session will be capped off with the NOAA Small Business of the Year Award presented by Jeffrey Thomas, Director of NOAA's Acquisition and Grants Office. Feel free to ask any questions during the presentations. And beginning at noon, we'll start our matchmaking portion of the event. And now I'd like to introduce the President and CEO of the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce with some opening remarks, Gigi Godwin. Gigi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lucas, and good morning and welcome to the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce 2022 NOAA Small Business Industry Day. I'm Gigi Godwin, President and CEO of the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, everyone who has been able to join us today. I ask all of you to join me in thanking the incredible team at NOAA for committing the time and resources necessary to make this important event possible. Welcome and thank you to today's presenters. As Lucas mentioned, we are thrilled to have Lucas Payne himself, Small Business Program Manager at NOAA Small Business Office, Eric Olmstead, Branch Chief, NOAA Acquisition and Grants Office, Jay Standring, Branch Chief, NOAA Acquisitions and Grants Office, Amy Kim, Area Director, Office of Government Contracting, U.S. Small Business Administration, and Jeffrey Thomas, Director of the NOAA Acquisition and Grants Office, who will be presenting the Small Business of the Year award to 3 businesses this year. I love that part of the program too. It is great for the Chamber to be working with NOAA again. Today's event is the 5th year of NOAA Small Business Industry Day, and it is our 3rd year of hosting a virtual industry day. This year, we have more than 400 one-on-one matchmaking sessions scheduled, and the Chamber is proud that NOAA is headquartered right here in Montgomery County, Maryland. Our Chamber is dedicated to the success of our small business federal contractors. For us, it's an economic imperative to host events like this because Montgomery County is the #2 county in the nation for all small businesses that sell to the federal government. Today's program offers you a rare opportunity to meet with NOAA program officers and prime contractors, including MCC board member company Itegrity. We love them, and they're on our board, Itegrity Inc. Access to incredible network of potential partners from across the country, and for you to identify how you will help NOAA meet its mission. Rest assured that the Chamber will continue to help you connect your company to move and reach more opportunities and foster new relationships. Throughout the year, our Chamber hosts many programs and events to help you connect, learn, and grow. And we've just recently reintroduced in-person events to our programming. So please know this, we are your trusted source, providing you with the right information at the right time from the right experts to help you accelerate your success. We're also the trusted source for federal, state, and local policymakers. We are the only regional chamber in the United States that advocates for small business government contractors at the federal level. The U.S. Senate and House Small Business Committees regularly reach out to our Chamber's GovConnect Council for recommendations from our council, government contracting subject matter experts. So with that, now a few housekeeping matters for today. Social media. Please let everyone know where you are today. Share your experience and tag us on social media at MCCCMD. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Eric Olmstead, Branch Chief, NOAA Acquisition and Grant Office. Over to you, Eric.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all the attendees. Good morning. I'm going to attempt to share my screen here. So if it doesn't work, let me know. If it does work, I'll take silence as everything looks good.
We can see your slides.
Thank you,
Yes,
Jay.
it works.
We can see them, they're working.
Thank you
Yep.
so much, everyone. Appreciate the positive feedback. Okay, yeah, so I'm Eric Olmstead. I'm here to present on responding to government requests. It's going to be a quick overview on that, but I really do want to take the time to introduce myself and my team and just IT acquisitions at NOAA. And then I'm going to do a quick overview of the tips and advice I have for responding to government requests. So this is kind of from my own experience as a contracting officer and a team lead of contracting officers and specialists. And then the most important one is facilitate discussion around how NOAA can improve our solicitations, improve our evaluations, and really just improve communications with small businesses and specifically the Montgomery County local community. If there are ever questions, feel free to pop in and I'll answer what I can. So an introduction to myself, my name is Eric Olmstead, and I put my contact information right up front. I'm sure these slides will be shared out. So I really just want to offer myself as a resource for anything. I have more experience in IT, but I'm happy to help and get on a call about any questions you have about NOAA acquisitions or acquisitions across the federal government. I am the branch chief of the Corporate Services Acquisition Division IT Services branch. Our team supports the CIO for their direct acquisitions and also their enterprise initiatives, the NOAA Cybersecurity Center, NOAA Cloud Initiative, and anything that kind of does touch all of the line offices that goes through the CIO office. And formerly, CSAD was the Strategic Sourcing Acquisition Division. So we still do have that mission in our portfolio where we will set up strategic sourcing vehicles for NOAA IT acquisitions. And I'll go through a few of those so this community has some visibility and can reach out to me if they want to more specifics on any of these things in our portfolio. I'm happy to provide names of vendors that you might be able to subcontract with or team with, or any information on future competitions. So our largest one is the NOAA Mission IT Services, known as NEMITS around here. It is a $2.1 billion BPA off of GSA Schedule 70, formerly Schedule 70, now Mass IT. So it's a BPA with 29 vendors, all small business partners, with a 10-year ordering period from 2020 to 2030. The task orders can go for 5 years after that. So it is the next chunk of years for our community, and we don't anticipate there being much opportunity for onboarding just because we did award to 29 small business partners, which was a bit above our goal. But who knows, as people graduate and as the community changes in IT, we very well could be onboarding at some point in the future. So we will be sure to communicate that out as widely as possible, including to this community if that does take place. The most important thing for small businesses that aren't on this schedule is that there will always be the opportunity for subcontracting opportunities. So if you are an IT focused company and you want to reach out to me to get the names of the BPA holders and any information about the contracting officer who administers it and the contract specialist who administers it, just feel free to shoot me an email, my contact information, or give me a call, and I can help get you in contact with those people. Some other strategic sourcing initiatives in our portfolio. We have a strategic management services, which is a single award BPA with small disadvantaged businesses. We have the NOAA Cloud Initiative BPA, just with the nature of cloud, that is kind of a large business initiative because over 95% of the end dollars are going to the large cloud service providers. We have an IT analytics BPA that is with Forrester and Gardner currently. That one will be up for recompetition in the next year or two here. We have a Red Hat BOA off of NASA SOUP. We have a Geo Information Systems, that's for mapping software. And then we have Enterprise Infrastructure Solutions, which is a GSA initiative for all of NOAA's telecommunication and data transfers. That's currently with AT&T. It's another one that is a long one, 10 years, but I'm sure there are subcontracting opportunities if you are in the telecommunication field. And it's another opportunity. Just a quick note on IT and the 8A program. The NEMITS vehicle does not have an 8A track. So if you are an 8A company, Many of our IT 8A requirements will be staying in the 8A program unless there's a very good or valid reason to remove them from there. So if you're not on NEMITS and you're an 8A company, we do anticipate still a significant amount of business going through the 8A program. And to that end, we're educating our workforce on some initiatives through the TechFAR Hub around software development and how 8A can fill that role where you can get a kind of aim small, miss small with a under $4.5 million contract. And if do it for a year, if things are going well, you can do another one. And it just provides a lot of flexibility in the IT space for those development projects that I think we're going to continue to push out to our community as the 8A program really does provide a lot of unknown flexibility for software development or other small IT projects. So that will continue to be an avenue we go. And I just wanted to share this just for those of you who feel left out that you're not on NEMITS. There will be plenty of IT that goes elsewhere as well. Now I'm going to go over some quick things on responding to government requests. I don't want to dwell too on this. I'd much rather get to the discussion and leverage the community to improve our own acquisitions and solicitations. So I'm going to be a little selfish and I'll give out some information, but I'm looking to gain more from you all if I can. Just a quick note on the difference between requests for information and sources sought. Sometimes these things get conflated, and we're trying to educate our contract specialists and officers to improve, to make sure that you're doing one or the other and not making it the same, because they are very different. Request for information is defined in the FAR, and it's meant to be a first step in figuring out if industry has a solution to a problem, be that with general price, or if this could ever be delivered on time, or just any other market information on, is there capability out there in the government out there in industry to solve one of the government's problems. So there's no required format for these. Nothing says you have to do one, and it should not be used to help with a determination on small business set aside. That is more specifically called the sources sought. Again, it's defined in the FAR. I put the section there. And the primary purpose of this notice is to allow small business access to acquisition information and enhance competition by identifying these opportunities. So for the small business community, those sources sought, when you do see one come out from NOAA or any federal agency, and you feel like you have the capabilities to perform those, that's an important one to respond to, because the agency will evaluate that, and that can end up, two small businesses displaying capability can end up being the difference between something going full and open and something being set aside for small businesses. A couple of, and these are mine personally, so I won't make it look like this is anything formal, but this is just a little advice on responding to government's requests. And I'm going to use RFQ, RFP, and solicitations interchangeably here. So if you want more information on the difference between those, again, feel free to reach out. I want to offer myself as a resource to everyone here. Some do's, read the entire RFP, and that's mostly because we put a lot of hard work into developing them. I'm just kidding. Read the entire RFP because there's important stuff in there. And a general theme here is that there's always going to be, we don't want it to be a check the box situation, but because of our rules and regulations, and this goes into the next mark there's always going to be a need for you have to respond to X, Y, and Z, or else we cannot consider you for award. So it's very important to read the entire document. We try to streamline them as much as possible, and we continue to push that effort. Believe me, we don't want to be writing 50-page documents either. So we will continue to do that. And then when given the opportunity, provide innovative solutions. A lot of times, some people just provide the yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. And I'll go into this a little more in future slides, but it's important that when provided the opportunity to provide information and value to the government, make sure that it's done in a way that demonstrates value. Some quick do nots. And the first one is assume compliance. And this goes to the check the box situation. An example is right now, Department of Commerce has a requirement that we have to put in the clause on the provision on telecommunications in all of our solicitations. And that's 52-204-24. So even though you've already done that in sam.gov, and we fully agree that it shouldn't need to be done again, the Department of Commerce has a local policy that you have to do it in all solicitations again, and until that's rescinded, it can lead to not being compliant. Even if you say, what's the problem? I'm in sam.gov, can't you just look there? We agree, but they're across the government. There are always going to be those little peculiarities of a certain agency or a certain department has their own compliance that for whatever reason, be it because they've had an issue in the past, they have an extra step in the process. So it is important to make sure you're adhering to those, because it can get you kicked out of a bid for a reason that we don't want to do, and obviously you don't want to be removed for as well. The second one is around regurgitating the government's requirement, and I'll go into that in a little more depth in a future slide. And the last one is similar. Don't assume the government knows your capabilities. It has to be demonstrated in the proposal. This goes back to checking the box. It's always going to exist. There are certain requirements we need to be in a proposal in order to be able to accept it. For in the IT world, this can be a security certification that is needed to work on a certain system, or a level of security that the offerer needs to show that they have. So there are going to be unique things to each acquisition. We wish we could make it more commercial. We attempt to where possible, but there will always be that that exercise as part of a request for proposal. The second one might seem silly, but whenever I see one that I have to kick out for a page count, it's not because I get joy out of that. It's because we put it in there and we have to restrict page counts, or else we'll be getting 600-page proposals for buying a laptop. So it might seem harsh, and we don't like to do it, but just make sure that the page count limitations are followed and response dates are followed as well. It might seem harsh that a minute late means you can't be accepted, but again, the line has to be drawn somewhere else. We can't move on with our work. So those are two important ones to just keep an eye on. And then the last one is to make sure that you're responding to all the instructions and you're fully understanding what we're going to be evaluating. The last one is really, if you fully understand what the government is evaluating, it's going to help you with what you should focus on in your proposal. This last one is where gets a little more interesting, where we want solutions. Often in the IT world and acquisitions in general, what we're not looking for is just that check the box. We have to do that, but what we're really looking for, and the whole point of the process, is to get solutions that are going to solve the government's problems. So we want you guys to propose and demonstrate creative and valuable solutions. It might seem like most of your page count is taken up by the check the box, but there will always be those opportunities for you to demonstrate unique solutions. And then the last bullet to me is the advice I would give to any small business is to explain that value proposition, tie it to the requirements and the evaluation criteria, focus on cost, schedule, efficiency, upgrade in advance, and really write it in plain language, especially at NOAA. Our evaluators on these projects, it's often their third or fourth job is to evaluate proposals. They need to be walked to the water, if you will. You can write something that you think is going to be seen as the most valuable, but if you don't take that next step to tie it to the requirement and explain the value, it could be missed by evaluators who don't spend all their careers evaluating proposals like in DoD or larger agencies. So just keep that in mind when responding to NOAA solicitations, that the person on the other end might not be the most acquisition savvy evaluator. Really try to demonstrate that value and take that extra step to get there. Just a quick note on the use of lowest price technically acceptable. It will continue to drop in usage since 2019, when the Senator John McCain National Defense Authorization Act put further restrictions on the use of LPTA. And this will continue to come through for NOAA CEOs. I know it's a focus on our policy and oversight division that really has to be justified extra. So this is just another, it should lead to more requests for wanting to give the opportunity to show that value and not just be another check the box exercise. And now to the questions and discussion. And this is the part that I really was looking forward to getting to the most. I want some open discussion around NOAA's or government in general's requests on how we can reduce the burden for you all. We know asking for 20 pages response that you might feel never gets adequately looked at is something that no one wants to do. We don't want to waste the time and energy and resources to get solutions. So any feedback that can be, Megan, can we use the chat, or can they come off mute, or how would you recommend we go?
Questions. Okay, we have a number of questions. I noticed that Jay from NOAA has been answering them as they come in. But if anybody has any additional questions they want to put in the chat box, now would be a great time.
I'll stop presenting so I can see that as well.
So we had a question that came in that says, it's hard to understand where the 8A opportunities are being forecasted and discussed. Any additional insights into how 8As can gain more insight into the services that you are seeking?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we use, it's called the CBOT system, and I can put a link in the chat to it. It was never meant to be kind of the final solution at the Department of Commerce. We are in between acquisition software at the moment, and this will be hopefully improved with the new software. But right now it is a bit band-aid. I agree. It's hard to track and find. So I would, unfortunately for now, you might have to get a little more strategic about it by reaching out to branch chiefs or myself, and I can always help find an opportunity if you're tracking it in whatever mechanism you are. I know there are resources out there. It all is publicly available on fpds.gov, and that system's not the best, but if you've had time to click around in the new SAM system, there are some resources there for finding and tracking government opportunities, and you can filter it down by 8A. So although I hope the answer is in the future, the commerce forecasting will be improved to get there. For now, you might have to get a little more tactical with the 8A to track the opportunities when they're going to expire and find out what the plan is for them. So to Dale's question around price reasonableness, and I just lost it. And not price realism. For commercial products, price realism is not really part of the exercise. It's not in the FAR as a step to do. So it's going to be price reasonableness and evaluating for best value. And price realism does have its downside as well, where you are restricting some potential solutions that might seem unrealistic, but can be successful going forward. So, and we are mandated to evaluate price in one way or another. Can vendors still get on the NEMITS BPA? You cannot get on as a prime or a part of a CTA team. There will be opportunities to get on a CTA is a contract teaming arrangement. It's a specific thing in GSA. A link to that. It's possible that CTA opportunities will open up, but prime BPA in the foreseeable future, that being the next 5 years, I don't foresee us doing another competition to refresh the pool, just because we do have 28 businesses on there currently. But there will always be the opportunity to subcontract. So the HCATs, is that the Commerce's IT IDIQ that they're putting together? I'm not familiar with that acronym from Debbie.
Eric, it looks like Debbie answered the question, training and.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see it. I Googled it as well. I don't have too much insight into that. It does look like it's a GSA vehicle, and our COs and CSs will always look to GSA as a first or second choice unless there's a local vehicle for HR. So I would say it's possible, but I don't have too much insight into that. I'd say the best way to seek subcontracting opportunities on NEMITS is first you can reach out to myself, and then I can share the list of vendors with you, and then you can take a look to see if you have a relationship with any of them currently that you can leverage, or if you want to reach out to them to try to build a relationship. At least then you have their names and their websites and contact information to provide. So to the new small business goals that increase, yes, we're very aware that the small business goaling is going up, and across government, commerce is putting even higher goals on the bureaus. So to address that, it really, as an overall plan, is to just be more aware of it and push for small businesses, and most likely will be more scrutiny on things that are going full and open competition, and just teaching the CSs and COs community about that this is an increase. It's a priority for the executive branch and for the president. So we'll just be continuing to support those goals where we can. Yeah, another answer on NEMITS. Yeah, I would say it's very unlikely that there'll be an onboarding opportunity in the next 5 years. Now, that being said, we've had 2 graduates since we awarded it. So if we get 10 more in the next year, because everyone's making so much money that they're no longer a small business, it's possible. Procurement forecast task under NEMITS, we have asked the CIO program office to improve on CBOT for IT opportunities within NOAA. So they are developing a tool to share out to the IT community for IT specifically for forecasting. So we fully recognize that CBOT isn't necessarily meeting everyone's needs, and we want to develop something on top of that. But on a timeline to when that's going to be available, I don't have at the moment. To Ellen's question around CTAs, if that's a contractor teaming arrangement through GSA, I don't know when it started, but it's still a fairly new tool. I don't have too much experience with it. We will use it. GSA encourages it, and it encourages it to help with small business teams. So we will more likely be using them going forward. It is an opportunity to get a prime relationship with multiple vendors, but there are some peculiarities to it as well. To the question if I'm going to be available for the one-on-ones, I unfortunately missed signing up, but I'm going to try to piggyback on Jay's one-on-one. So it'll be 2-on-1s with myself and Jay, since we're both within the same division, and we cover a little different areas as far as capabilities. So for those companies that are IT focused that Jay might not have as much information for, I'll try to be there to help provide that. Okay, and if anyone has any further questions, feel free to reach out to me. These slides will be shared. I'll put my email in the chat again. Yeah, I really just, the most exciting part I was about presenting here today was to get the opportunity to provide myself to you all as a resource. I take Fridays and Friday afternoons specifically to respond to industry requests, and I plan on still doing that going forward. So if you don't hear back from me never feel bad about sending another email to try to set up a meeting. I do field them pretty openly. So I'm here as a resource, and thank you for the opportunity to present. And now I'll pass it on to my colleague, Jay.
There we go. I touched the right buttons. Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Eric, for that. Do you, for the folks who are running the group, do we want to just roll right through or stay on schedule, take a break and start at 10:40? You tell me. Okay, so haven't heard.
No, we just need to go ahead and keep it rolling. Thank you.
We'll keep it rolling. Thank you very much. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. As Eric mentioned, I'm Jay Standring. I'm the Professional Scientific and Technical Services Branch Head with NOAA AGO. So that's the ProTech program. I am everything but not IT. So if you did sign up with me for one-on-ones and you're more IT focused, I would really recommend that you talk to Eric Olmstead because I would just kind of push you to Eric Olmstead. But I did put a link in the box real quick, and that is the link to the ProTech website. If you haven't had a chance to review it, please do, especially if you're new to NOAA. You can click, look for the About ProTech tab, click on that. We have a brochure. It's 2-page. It explains the program pretty succinctly. So I hope you find it useful. We'll go ahead and run through my slides. My slides are similar to what I gave at the ProTech 2.0 Oceans Industry Day yesterday that we held. And hopefully it'll give you the background of the ProTech program if you don't know about us and where we are currently and our way ahead in the future. And now I will try to share my screen and hopefully you'll be able to see my slides. Can I get a thumbs up? Can everybody see those?
Not at all.
Not at all. Hold on a second.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about now?
Yes, sir. We can. Good deal.
I had to actually click on the share button. Big surprise, right? So again, good morning, everybody. And this brief, there's nothing here that's procurement sensitive. I will tell you as much as I can about what's going on. And if you have any questions that you don't want to ask in public, please feel free to circle around with me directly. And I'll make sure you have my email in the chat box in a minute. So a little mom and apple pie here for NOAA. Obviously, weather is a very big part of our interest and focus. Also coastal health, also fisheries, also satellites, and the blue economy. So here are the AGO goals, right? We have to balance our mission and supporting NOAA's missions with our fiduciary duty. We want to protect the public interest, your and our tax dollars. We want to be efficient and effective. We want to operate with integrity and transparency. And what we've been doing in AGO, at least since I came on board in 2016 and prior to that as well, we're trying to move from just service delivery to a core competency with acquisitions. We're supporting our line staff offices throughout the entire financial assistance life cycle, and that includes acquisitions and grants. We build industry partnerships with our commercial industry partners. That's you all out there. And also we want to get beyond just doing acquisition, but formation to management. So we're going to work with our NOAA clients early on in their planning cycles to understand the requirements and then find the best solution for them. Some of our AGO challenges, just requirements, frankly, sometimes requirements are confusing. So really defining what the government really needs and making sure those are valid requirements is an effort we're constantly engaged with, and cost estimating as well. In FY21, NOAA had about 19,000 transactions. That's a record number. We obligate about 1.9 billion, just over that. We anticipate some future funding in NOAA, some in the grants side of the house, some to acquisitions next couple of fiscal years. And what we want to do is focus on our spend analysis, our sourcing, and streamlining our acquisition processes, right? We want to make that the length of time to get good contracts in place a little bit shorter. And one of our challenges is the different NOAA line and staff offices, they all operate a little bit differently. Some of them are highly centralized, some of them are not so. So way back when, Mitch Ross, the godfather rather of ProTech, came up with the idea of the ProTech program, and we had the AP approved by a DOC in 2015. So it is our strategic sourcing program for professional, scientific, and technical services. It's a mandatory use program for NOAA, and it also has a DOC Tier 1 designation for spend under management. So we get credit for that, and we're quite happy that we were designated so. There are 4 domains in the ProTech program, and they align with the major NOAA mission areas of satellites, fisheries, oceans, and weather. And also, it provides us with a cadre of partners, you all, in commercial industry to help carry out NOAA's missions. Each domain had a suite of multiple award IDIQ contracts, and those contracts had a period performance of 5 years, a 2-year base ordering period, and 3 one-year optional ordering periods. Task orders issued during the last option year could last for up to 5 years as well. So it is a long-term commitment. Each domain had somewhere around 20 to 25 prime awardees under the current ProTech program. And I'll go into more of that later. We had a $3 billion total shared ceiling across all domains. And we work very hard with our NOAA clients, our program line and staff offices, to shift the work that was being done in different contracting vehicles prior to the ProTech program coming into place to eventually find the correct domains for that work to go under. As I mentioned, we have various contractors in different domains. And so I wanted to call out, we had what was called a full and open competition for each of those 4 domains with a small business reserve feature. So what we did is we said we want to have a goal of up to 75% of the IDIQ awards in each domain to go towards a small business or a further socioeconomic category. And the ones we targeted there are on the slide. You see the small business, the women-owned small businesses, hub zones, and service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. So when we talk about the 75% goal, it's a goal. Satellite domain, which was the first domain that was awarded, 78% of the prime contracts went to small businesses. So satellite exceeded the goal, quite happy. Fisheries just missed the goal a little bit, 71% went to small businesses. Oceans was a complete 50-50 split, but we knew that based on the historical spending going in. We expected more large businesses in the oceans domain. And the weather domain missed the goal a little bit, 59% went to small businesses. Now that is the IDIQ contracts, the prime awards. That is not the task orders, which I'll address separately. This really is a slide more for internal use. However, I just want to mention that we have a streamlined acquisition plan we put in place. We hope our NOAA clients find it useful, a short form rather than a long, complicated government form. And also we are mandatory use, but we also have an exception waiver process. The ProTech program, we want folks to use us. We do not want to get in the way where it makes sense to use something different from ProTech. And so we think our process and our policy is pretty fair. We do have what's called a teaming on the fly concept with ProTech. And I want to talk about that. It's in use in the current ProTech program, and it will remain in use in the ProTech 2.0 program, which is the follow-ons to our 4 domains. So what does it mean? So just like people, we expect you to grow and learn things over time and add skill sets. So we don't expect a team of whatever shape it took for a prime awardee, whether it is 1, 2, 3, or 4 companies or more. We don't expect that team to remain in concrete the entire life of the program. If a company wants to team with other companies that weren't part of their ProTech program or weren't part of that particular team, they can go ahead and do so as they pursue task order competitions. So it's a way for NOAA to grow. It's a way for other companies to take advantage of other companies' talents that develop over time. And certainly as we're looking at the ProTech 2.0 program, which is going to be a longer period of performance than the current one, this just makes sense. We do have on our website a quarterly report that we send to the Department of Commerce. Of course, it's reporting on the previous quarter, but it has a good program roll up and it shows task order awards, forecasts, and breaks out the type of task orders that went to which type of small businesses, et cetera. I hope you find it useful. There's a lot of good stuff on the ProTech website. Please feel free to drive around. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or any of my staff anytime and we can answer those questions. So for our ProTech task order data so far, as I mentioned, we had a shared $3 billion ceiling across all 4 domains. And where we are at the end of Q2 FY22, we've spent just about 1.27 billion. So we have just over 1.7 billion left in the ceiling. So we're in the middle of the program. Does not look like ceiling is going to be an issue. So we're quite happy with that. And there are some of the end of FY21 data. We had about 230 task orders across all 4 domains awarded, just for about just under $440 million obligated, just over 1.01 billion. And that doesn't involve the 86 minimum guarantee orders that we give to the prime awardees upon contract award. So this is probably going to be very interesting to you all in the small business domain. So satellite domain, 100% of the task order awards since the contracts were awarded back in 2017 have all gone to small businesses or further socioeconomic category. Fisheries domain, 91.7 task orders went to small businesses. Oceans so far 100%, weather domain so far 100%. I expect the oceans and weather to change a little bit. We may have some large businesses win task orders here because they're still relatively newer, but those are pretty good numbers. So even though we had a 75% goal for the prime awards on the ProTech program to small businesses, they've been cleaning up with the task order awards, right? That's great. Who is it not great for? The large businesses. So we did full and open competitions with a reserve for small business. And frankly, the large businesses have not been happy with us, and they've been vocal about it because they haven't had a chance to compete, they believe. So I would recommend, as we look towards the future, right, some of the large businesses may want to shift and team with a small business. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. So how do we help? How does the ProTech program help NOAA clients internally? And how do we interact with you all, our industry partners? So each of our domains in my ProTech PMO has a dedicated core at the IDIQ level who's also called the account manager. And I normally steal those folks from internal NOAA. So I steal them from the science areas that they're working in so that we have somebody who's, while they may not be a subject matter expert, they're very familiar with the scientific and technical requirements, and they can help those folks in those program offices, help develop those requirements and figure out a way to do things smarter. We also assist them with requirements development. We help them with developing independent government cost estimates, and we track a lot of task order invoice data. So we have recent and relevant data to look at when we talk about labor rates and other costs. We do data analysis for our clients and also spend and cost analysis. We provide training and tools to our clients. We try and streamline things, and I'll get into that in a minute. In fact, NOAA's pretty happy. We have what's called the NOAA NAIL, which is the NOAA Acquisition Innovation Lab. And a couple of my folks on my ProTech team are also members of the NAIL. And so we're moving out with some acquisition innovations, and 2 more comments I will make on that. And we also engage heavily with our ProTech contract awardees, the account managers, and the administrative contracting officers assigned to each of the 4 domains. Are meeting with the companies either face-to-face or virtual at least once a year, and often much more than that. So one of the things we also do is we provide to our clients, if there are any NOAA personnel out there who are in requirement shops, we can do a scope review and a capabilities analysis report for you all. As you can see, some of the domains have a lot more requirements and some have less, but we have a pretty good average response rate to you all for a very thorough report. In most cases, well under 4 business days. And the contracting officers can use this as the basis of their market research or when they want to go ahead and set a task order competition level. So we're pretty proud of that report. Other ProTech tools, if a client does not know which domain is the proper domain, we can do a best fit analysis on the requirement across all 4 domains and see which domain set of contractors have the greatest amounts, the skills to meet that requirement. So we can do that for you. I've already mentioned the IGCE tool that we have. We can also do invoice tracking. So as NOAA tries to work with Department of Commerce, and Department of Commerce would like us to shift from riskier contracts to less risky, and in many cases they would like to see things go firm fixed price. So we can take a look at the invoice tracking on different requirements, and we can see maybe perhaps where there were steady state funding. So you could say over the course of 5 years, yeah, that looks like that's a requirement that's kind of thorough and it's mature and we can expect it. So that might lend itself to a firm fixed pricing option. Or the requirement might be like a hybrid contract in the next iteration, a firm fixed price with just some labor hour claims for the things that weren't expected. The invoice tracking could also show, though, where the funding is up and down and you really can't plan. And that would just show our clients, you're not a good candidate for firm fixed pricing or hybrid firm fixed pricing task order. So it's a great tool. And then of course we coordinate meetings with our clients and conduct reverse industry days in forums like these all the time. So I put the link in for the ProTech website in the chat. So if you got a chance to look at that, this is the landing page. Each of the different domains has a page as well, and we try and put the same type of data mostly on those pages, so you can take a look at it. Here is one of the domain pages kind of broken out, and there you can see the hyperlinks for the procurement forecast, task order award reports. We do have the contractors listed in each domain on domain pages, and that links back to what I mentioned when I said teaming on the fly. If you're not a ProTech contractor currently, and if for some reason you do not win a ProTech Prime Award, you can always click on that domain and see who the contract holders are. And we told the companies we want a real live person, phone number, and email address, and so that companies can reach out to you and contact you for potential teaming opportunities after they go ahead and take a look at the procurement forecast report. Now that's fundamentally different from many other IDIQs, right? In many other IDIQs, the requirements only go to the IDIQ holders, the prime awardees, and no one ever knows about it, right? Instead, we're trying to be very public and transparent by having these things pushed out as far as we can do it accurately on our forecasts. So even if you're not a ProTech Prime, you can take a look at that data. And here is the internal ProTech website. This requires access to be given. It's only for government employees, but I just want to let any of the NOAA folks who are on today that we do have our internal ProTech site, and we can help you with that as well. Okay, so what's going to happen with the ProTech future? So ProTech 2.0, we're kicked off and we're running. So it's going to be the same 4 domains: satellite, fisheries, oceans, and weather as the current ProTech program. DOC approved our ProTech 2.0 AP at the end of October last year. It is still a mandatory use program for NOAA, and we'll still have DOC Tier 1 spend under management designation. We're quite happy with that. We have a total shared ceiling this time of just under $8 billion. So that's quite an increase. And why is that? Because, next bullet, the periods of performance are going to be now 10 years, a 5-year base and a 1 5-year option ordering period. That's similar to Nimitz, right? So this really is a very long-term commitment. These are long-term relationships we're looking to build with these companies and our NOAA clients. And what's happened recently, and I'll address the other domains here in a minute. The Satellite 2.0 domain RFP, that phase 1 closed 6 January 22. So we can't say more about that. It's under evaluation. And once we are getting ready to award, we will start letting people know. The Fisheries 2.0 domain, we posted RFI to SAM.gov November. Hopefully you saw it. We did a small business only virtual industry day in March. We did a larger pool industry day in April. We posted the SOW to SAM.gov, and we got all our comments back by the end of April. I have nothing more to say about fisheries domain, but as soon as we are ready to reveal, what size standard we're going to do with that, we will. So you don't have to ask me that question privately because I just gave you the answer. The Oceans 2.0 domain, we drafted actually late breaking to this. We posted the draft SOW in 15 April. We got the comments back in May. We held our virtual unrestricted industry day just yesterday, as I mentioned. We're expecting Oceans to be a total small business set aside at the IDIQ level, just like the satellite domain 2.0 domain was. And the draft RFP for Oceans, this is late breaking news, it's on the slide. The draft RFP was posted to SAM.gov on 17 June, and we're requesting questions about the draft RFP to be posted back to the contracting officer by 8 July. And that is on the SAM.gov website, and there is a Google form to post the questions. So we hope you find that helpful. And I really have nothing else to say about the Weather 2.0 domain because it's simply too early in the process. The weather domain was under current ProTech was our last domain to be awarded. So we're just not near where we need to start worrying about the recompete for the Weather 2.0 domain yet. Here are just some tentative dates. You can see when the current domain was awarded and when it ends and when our anticipated awards are for 2.0. But just like every other schedule, these dates are good as of the 3 seconds it took me to talk about the slide, and some of those dates may change, but that's just tentative planning data for you all. We are very proud of our 2.0 innovation, ProTech 2.0 innovation that we're using for our ProTech 2.0 Prime Contract Awards. So we're hoping to see the process and the schedule reduced from what the original was. If we have really good lessons learned from each domain, we'll roll those into the follow-on domains. We've had great industry days and good feedback with companies talking about the draft SOWs and the RFPs with us. We're using innovative evaluation tools. We're asking companies to do a self-evaluation for phase 1. We are using the advisory down select notice process for phase 1 as well. We're using confidence ratings as opposed to the 5 adjectival ratings that you're used to, because hopefully that's a little easier for the government folks to do. It might be quicker and just as valid as the 5 adjectival rating system. We're doing on-the-spot consensus ratings, and we're actually doing oral presentations for phase 2. So those are all our innovative techniques that we're doing on ProTech 2.0, and hopefully we're going to find some good benefits to those. And we'll share those with the rest of NOAA, right? So if we got stuff that works, we're going to share it with the rest of NOAA. They can use it for other competitions or task orders. And if also there are things that we find didn't work so well, we'll share that with our partners as well. So that is my presentation. And now, do we have any questions? I'm looking in the chat box here real quick. Is there an opportunity to onboard? So again, we have the opportunity to off-ramp and on-ramp companies. I have not seen any real reason to do so under the current ProTech program in either 4 domains. We will also have the opportunity to have that for the ProTech 2.0 domains as well, especially because the length of that contract, 10 years, and in some cases, if the task orders in the last year of the option period could last for 3 or 4 or 5 years, it's really like a 15-year kind of effort. But as I mentioned, we have that as well, but also don't forget there's teaming on the fly. So if you look on the task order procurement forecast on each of the domain pages, and you find an area where your company is particularly well suited and has good experience, then feel free to click on the contract awardees on that domain, reach out to them, and basically say, I'd like to talk to you about maybe teaming up on something coming up in the future. Here's where our skill sets are. Here's where we can help you. And I know for a fact that teaming on the fly technique does work. We've had companies who had experience with NOAA and some without, and they've reached out to primes and helped them win task orders and are performing well. Okay, so that's that question. Okay, is there any public communication from the NAIL? So I think the NAIL is mostly internal to NOAA and AGO, but I simply don't know. So we can find that out and get back to you. Is anybody here from AGO? Is anybody here on the NAIL? Can they address that? I'll be quiet if they want to pop in. Okay, somebody wants my email address.
Hey Jay, this is Jeff. The NAIL is primarily internally focused as kind of a toolbox for contract specialists right now. But that's an interesting perspective that perhaps we should be thinking a little more externally to share. Thank you for that comment.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, sir. I appreciate the answer. And yes, thank you for the comment, by the way. And I've always said this before, right? The brain trust does not reside in NOAA, and it certainly doesn't reside only in my office. So we welcome feedback and questions like that and ideas from industry, because if there are things that make sense and we haven't thought of ourselves, we're happy to steal your idea. Okay, where can we find list of prime contractors? So I've already answered that. Go ahead and take a look on the ProTech public website and click on each domain page. And they have a radio button there for contract holders, and that's where you can find the information. We list the company, their POC, their business size, what used to be called their DUNS number, and now it's a unique identifier number, and their email and phone number. How does Nimitz and ProTech synchronize? We don't. And so here's the way to think of that. So Eric Olmstead is IT services, all computer stuff. I'm almost everything, but nothing IT. So it's not really synchronized. We are 2 different areas entirely. And part of that is because I'm just not smart enough to do IT contracts. It's just not what I do. So the way to look at that is NOAA has its own internal system, because no surprise to you all, right? Everything kind of touches IT a little bit these days. So NOAA has its own internal system to review requirements and kind of decide ahead of time what's really IT and what's not, so that the IT-centric contracts go to Eric's branch mostly, or maybe we have some other IT stuff we're doing, and the stuff that's not IT, most of it, not all, there's some stuff that ProTech doesn't do. We don't do construction, we don't do architecture engineering, we don't do legal services, we don't do acquisition support services, and some other things. So then, apart from those, then the rest of the professional, scientific, and technical services should come to ProTech. I hope that helps answer that one. You're welcome. And as a general note, like I mentioned, right, if you're on with me for a 1v1 and I'm just going to smile and say, talk to Eric, you could probably just talk to Eric. I'd be happy to say hello, though, and no worries. Where can we find that list of ProTech prime contractors? Once again, go to the ProTech website. I put the link in one of my comments up there, and just look for each domain page. They're right there on the homepage, and then click on contract awardees, and you'll see those in each domain. Oh, you know what? Maybe I just answered the question twice because I was way up in the chat box. Okay. Well, there's a nice note from Vince Garcia at the NOAA program office, and they're the ones who help look at requirements to see what's IT and what's not. And also, NOAA is works for the CIO, so they're the requirements owners basically for almost all of NOAA's IT stuff. Thank you, Vince. And Eric just put his email in as well again. Great. Okay. Well, I think that kind of ends it for me, so I can give you back about a little bit 10 minutes unless we have more questions. Happy to stand by. Okay, doke, I will go on mute.
Good afternoon. My presentation is up for next. Let's share my screen first. Share. I'm hoping that everyone can see my screen. I take
Yes.
the sign, but yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Kim. I'm the Area Director of SB Office of Government Contracting Area 2. The mission of SB Office of Government Contracting is to maximize small business utilization in federal contracts as prime and subcontractors. This mission is achieved through the 4 programs that are identified in this slide. I will spend most of my time addressing the 2 programs that are referenced at the bottom of the screen, the prime and subcontracting assistance programs. Just a quick overview, summary of the a little bit information about the SBA Office of Government Contracting. This is the map of the SBA Office of Government Contracting. As you can see here, it is divided into 6 geographical areas, each of which has its own area office. Each area office has an area director. So I have 5 counterparts throughout the country. Area directors are responsible for providing direction for implementing the 4 programs that are mentioned in the previous slide. I am the area director for Area 2 office here. It's circled in red in the right-hand side of the screen here, slide here. Area 2 office mostly covers mid-Atlantic states, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, West Virginia, and the District of Columbia. Although we are the smallest in size, we are actually responsible for more than 40% of all the federal contract dollars that are being obligated each year. So it keeps everyone in my office pretty busy. So I'm going to take a little bit of deeper dive into the Prime Contracting Assistance Program. This program is carried out by SBA program specialists called the Procurement Center Representatives, or PCRs. PCRs are essentially SBA procurement analysts assigned to various contracting agencies. They are located at SBA district offices or of federal contracting agencies around the country. So here's a summary of the PCR's roles and responsibilities. PCRs advocate for small businesses by performing the functions that are identified in the slide. Most importantly, PCRs review and analyze proposed acquisitions and make recommendations on how to maximize small business utilization in those acquisitions. I will address this point a little bit in detail in the next slide. PCRs also inform contracting agencies of regulatory amendments or policy changes pertaining to small business programs. They also conduct, a major function of the PCR is also training. So not only do they training small businesses, they also conduct training on small business programs for federal contracting agency personnel. And then moving on to counseling, PCRs provide counseling and assistance to small businesses, although this is not their primary function. PCRs usually refer small businesses, particularly those completely new to federal contracting, to SB8 district offices or SB8 resource partners such as SBDC or PTAC or SCORE for counseling and assistance. So what counseling and assistance do PCRs do? They actually perform these functions in specific acquisition matters. So if a small business has a contract with the agency and has experienced delays in contract payments, or they receive cure or show cause notices, or they have some restrictive clauses that are inserted into the solicitation, and then they can receive counseling assistance from PCRs. PCRs also evaluate subcontracting plans in accordance with FAR 19.7 to ensure that small businesses are afforded the maximum practical opportunity to participate in contracts as subcontractors. So those of you who have not heard of PCRs before, thinking that, oh, wow, great, this is great. I have SBA representative who can actually represent my interest in federal customers. This is actually a misunderstanding. PCRs, they are responsible for advocating all segments of the small business community. So they represent interest of the small business community, not necessarily each individual small businesses. So PCRs, they really strive to avoid even the appearance of supporting one segment of the small businesses over another. So, piece of advice. So what would be the best way to engage PCRs? You probably wouldn't get much response if you, send them an email, hey, I would like to request a one-on-one meeting with you. That's not really what PCR's interest or PCR's tasked to do. For that, you could probably talk to your federal customers, agency, small business specialists for that. However, if you have some specific acquisition questions, such as you have intelligence that upcoming requirement will be competed full and open, although you know that the rule of two could be met for small businesses. In those instances, it's probably the best time to contact PCR and explore further strategy. To the next slide here. So the slide here shows the various functions of acquisition reviews that PCRs perform. PCRs review and analyze proposed acquisitions not set aside for small businesses or not proposed for competition by contracting officers, and determine if they can be set aside for small businesses or competition can be enhanced. PCRs may assist by identifying small business sources, which may be completely new to the federal contracting officer. The primary tool that PCRs use to identify and match small business sources is the SBA's Dynamic Small Business Search Database. So when you register for SAM, you probably saw that supplemented page opening up, and where you provide some additional information about your company, and including short capability statement. Federal customers really rely on this dynamic small business search database. So make sure that your profile is up to date and you have a brief summary of your capability statement. This is probably the most important, aside from sources sought or RFI. This is probably the most important market research tool that exists among federal, for federal customers. And PCRs also review and investigate any bundled acquisitions and recommend the strategies that will enhance small business participation in those acquisitions. Finally, PCRs have the authority to stop acquisitions if they determine that the proposed acquisition strategy is not in compliance with small business statutes or regulations. Before initiating a formal challenge, PCRs always try to resolve the issue informally. However, if these efforts are not successful, then the PCR documents his or her actions and makes an appeal to the agency's contracting officer that a new acquisition strategy should be established to incorporate the small business utilization. If the contracting officer continues to deny the request, then the PCR may elevate the appeal to the head of the contracting activity. If that effort also fails, which actually happens quite a lot, then the SBA administrator may appeal the matter to the secretary of the agency. So this slide shows that PCR's major customers. I will start with the left and go around. First one is federal buyers. PCRs work with federal contracting officers and program managers to confirm that market research is adequate and address any questions that they may have as to the acquisition strategy. And also small business professionals directly link PCRs to the federal agency buyers. In a way, they're sort of like middlemen or middlewomen. PCRs usually go through small business professions to answer their questions on small business review documents, market research, or any issues that they may have. And then they have small businesses. That's the group the PCRs are advocating for. And PCRs also work closely with the SBA program offices, including district offices. They advise small businesses of these resources available from SBA, and they also inform them on how to request assistance from these offices. PCRs develop contacts with SBA resource partners by offering their services for presentation at their events or referring small businesses to these partners for counseling and assistance. So some of you in the audience probably may have interfaced with SBA, another SBA employees called the Business Opportunity Specialist, and probably wonder how the roles and responsibilities of Business Opportunity Specialists differ from those of PCRs. So as it's shown in here, PCRs again represent all segments of the small business community. They conduct procurement reviews. So when agency has a requirement, contracting officer and program people, they decide on the proposed acquisition strategy, and then it goes to a small business program office, internal small business program office for their review. And SBA is kind of like the last step in the whole review process. SBA conducts, again, independent reviews to make sure that the acquisition strategy is in compliance with the small business statutes or regulations. On the other hand, BOSs, Business Opportunity Specialists, they primarily serve their local 8A portfolio firms. They interact with the federal agencies through 8A offer and acceptance processes, and through representation of 8A firms in contract negotiations and dispute resolutions. So the PCRs, both PCRs and POSs provide outreach and assistance. However, their roles are distinctly different. I think I alluded to this a few minutes ago in a few slides ago. PCRs assess small businesses with procurement or agency specific questions. Again, if contractor has a performance issues which may have led to cure or show cause notices, PCRs intervene and provide assistance. And also if you're experiencing delays in contract payments by agencies, PCRs try to facilitate resolution of the matter. And also when there's a solicitation or draft solicitation is issued, you are made aware of the solicitation terms that are overly unduly restrictive for small businesses, and PCRs can explore ways on how to remove these unduly restrictive terms and enhance participation for small businesses. And again, BOS's roles are counseling and assistance focused on 8A portfolio firms, especially those ones interested in expanding their business footprint through federal contracting. And both PCRs and BOSs, they deliver technical assistance, but PCRs area of technical assistance to procuring agencies are in such topics as a limitation on subcontracting, non-manufacturer role, market research, or other procurement related matters. Just like BOSs have a portfolio of 8A firms, PCRs have a portfolio of federal contracting agencies. Right now I have 9 PCRs on my team, but each PCR, again, I spoke about area to carrying a largest portfolio of federal agencies in the whole country. My PCR is supporting anywhere between 8 to 15 federal agencies. So they have a very heavy workload, and they ensure that small businesses are afforded maximum practical opportunities in federal contracts. So how do you locate a PCR? Here's how to locate a PCR. Go to the SBA website and hover over the federal contracting menu, and then click Procurement Center Representatives. There is a PCR supporting NOAA. His name is Patrick Mayo, and I have provided his contact information at the bottom of the slide. And next, I'm going to switch gears to the subcontracting assistance program. I know most of you are participating in the event today are mainly interested in pursuing federal prime contracting opportunities, but you may not want to lose sight of the another major market, subcontracting. In fiscal year 2020, large business federal prime contractors spent almost $83 billion with the small business subcontractors. So this is definitely a market that you want to explore. SBA plays 2 roles in implementing the small business subcontracting program. At the pre-award stage, again, PCRs review small business subcontracting plans and recommend ways to maximize small business utilization. Once award is made, SBA subcontracting specialists called the commercial market representatives, or CMRs, perform post-award functions. And I want to talk about 2 important clauses, FAR clauses, Federal Acquisition Regulation clauses, pertaining to small business subcontracting. If you have a subcontract with large business federal prime contractors, you may want to actually, check your prime's contract. I can guarantee you, they probably include, they definitely include those 2, provided certain conditions are met. And also, if you have a prime contract, small business prime contract with the federal agencies, you'll see one of these clauses in your contract as well. Any federal contracts valued in excess of the simplified acquisition threshold include FAR 52-219-8. This FAR clause provides that small businesses are afforded the maximum practical opportunity to participate in federal contracts as prime contractors or subcontractors. this clause, and this is actually fairly recent addition, but this clause also incorporates the policy of the United States concerning payments. The clause requires prime contractors, large or small, to establish procedures to make timely payments of their small business subcontractors in accordance with the terms of the subcontracts. Moreover, all federal contracts with an estimated value in excess of $750,000, this threshold is elevated to $1.5 million for construction contract, but they must have a small business subcontracting plan with a separate goals for each socioeconomic category. By the way, this requirement only applies to large businesses. Okay, so a little bit about commercial market representatives, CMRs. So CMRs, I would say that they are subcontracting equivalent of PCRs. We don't have that many CMRs around the country. We only have 6 at the moment, but CMRs, they have a portfolio of large business federal prime contractors, and they monitor that the large businesses in their portfolio submit accurate subcontracting award data to federal agencies in a timely manner. They also perform compliance reviews of large business primes to confirm that they are in compliance with the small business subcontracting plan requirements. They also provide counseling and marketing assistance to small businesses seeking subcontracting opportunities with the large business primes. So here's how to locate a CMR. Go to, again, the path is the same. Go to the SBA website and hover over the federal contracting menu and click on commercial market representatives. So Area 2 has a CMR. I'm so thrilled that I have one on board. She came to us from the private sector a few months ago. Her name is Rahel Morlalini, and I provided her contact information at the bottom of the screen. So I have a few minutes to entertain questions that you may have. Let me actually open the chat box here. See what kind of questions that I have. Let me actually stop sharing. Stop sharing screen. Okay, let me open the chat box and see what questions I got. Okay, I'm going to, let's see. The first question is, we have an invoice that has not gotten paid over 18 months by a government agency. How do we get how do we get the PCR of that agency? Again, you know, one of the slide that I have shows the link to go to the PCR page. Once you get to the page, you should be able to navigate to the PCR that's assigned to that specific agency. The next question is, do we have a PCR associated with a company similar to BOS? The answer is no. Again, you know, BOSs, they have a portfolio of 8A firms. So each 8A firm is assigned a BOS that they can work with, you know, to pursue opportunities or to have them represented in contract negotiation. As I said before, PCR's portfolio firms, portfolio is actually federal agencies, so they are assigned to federal agencies. However, if you have questions or if you need assistance with the specific acquisition matters, the ones that I spoke about, you know, solicitation terms or payment issues or performance issues, then you can engage a PCR. Okay, so Jay kindly, you know, provided SBA PCR information there. So thank you for that. And the Luke Payne, who's the Small Business Program Manager for NOAA, he used to be a PCR with Area 2. So if you need some insight on, you know, how to best to engage PCR, Luke is an additional resource. And I don't see any other questions. Again, you know, if you have further questions, you know, engage PCR and CMR with your specific questions. And in order to identify a PCR that's supporting the agency you have questions on, follow the path that I provided in the slide to locate the PCR. And thank you everyone for, bearing with me this morning. And I really look forward to continue to work with everyone. Thank you. And then now I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Thomas, who is the director of the NOAA Acquisition and Grants Office. He'll be presenting the Small Business of the Year Awards. Thank you.
Kim, thank you so much for the presentation. I know it was useful and informative to me, and I'm sure. Oh, sorry about that. And I'm sure also to our industry partners. So I'm so pleased to continue our partnership with the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce in bringing together the NOAA contracting and program staff and our industry partners. I want to give special thanks to Gigi for her leadership and collaboration to ensure these events are successful and, more importantly, helpful to industry as they seek to engage NOAA in various business endeavors. These engagements are an important part of NOAA's strategy to work with the business community and to seek out new relationships in support of the NOAA mission. Another important part of our engagement with industry is to publicly recognize the contributions of the small business community in supporting the NOAA mission. As part of that recognition is the presentation of our annual Small Business of the Year Awards. These awards are the results of nominations from NOAA program staff, and they recognize small businesses who demonstrate an outstanding performance, accomplishments, and a spirit of partnership in support of the NOAA mission. I'm proud to announce 3 firms as recipients of the 2022 Small Business of the Year Awards in the following award categories: small business, small disabled veteran-owned small business, and 8A small businesses. So without further ado, the winner of the 2022 NOAA Small Business of the Year Award is Axiom Consultants. Axiom was nominated by the National Weather Service with supporting nominations from AGO, NESDIS, and Office of Human Capital Services. Axiom is being recognized for providing high-quality services in support of software engineering for cloud computing and implementing NOAA's forecast modeling system in cloud. They take great pride in understanding the National Weather Service's mission and recognize the challenges and pain points of advancing our modeling system and the computing allocation restraints. This understanding has accelerated the development of a new regional modeling system at NOAA that is scheduled to go into operations in 2024. Accepting the award on behalf of Axiom is Ms. Havana Rakesh. Mrs. Rakesh? Okay, I'm pretty sure she's online.
I'm online. Can you hear me?
Yep, there you go. We got you.
Yeah, thank you. This is such an honor. I'm Bhavana Rakesh, CEO of Axiom Consultants. Thank you, NOAA and AGO, for this recognition and your kind words. Thank you, Montgomery Chamber of Commerce, for organizing this amazing event and bringing the industry together. This is such a pleasant surprise, and we are blown away to receive this award among some very strong competition. This is probably the award that means the most to us. And thank you to our customers for nominating us for this award. So who is Axiom? Axiom, we got our first start right here at NOAA. We are headquartered in Rockville, in Montgomery County. We are also 8A and we are women-owned. 5 years ago, I would have never imagined Axiom would be here today receiving this award, Small Business of the Year Award from NOAA. The agency mission that we love and are so passionate about. Our customer-focused and mission-driven services has fueled an explosive growth since our inception as a federal government contracting company in 2016. Our key understanding on how we best meet the needs of the individuals, both our clients and also our employees, has been our key success factor to our growth. Our business has grown from 3 FTE operation 3 years ago to a proud 85 employees today. Axiom takes great pride in powering solutions that address the NOAA mission. Our goal is to build a company that our employees are proud of. Winning this award is exciting, but really behind the scenes, it is our execution, our operations, our value, how we value our employees, and building a strong reputation. That's been our key ingredients, which has constituted our growth. Like everyone here, we just took in the events of the past couple of years and grinded it day in and day out. We've had to come up with creative ways of growing our business during these challenging times of the pandemic. We kept our chin up and did our best in dealing with changing circumstances and dealt with one challenge after another. We're only here today because we were fortunate enough to receive help and support from countless people when we needed it the most. I believe that every experience that life brings to us is a gift and it has a meaning. We at Axiom trusted the universe is conspiring to help us succeed. Like the saying goes, it's not the destination, it's about the journey. It isn't about getting to a certain size or meeting a revenue number. It's the experiences that we go through every day. It's about the relationships we build every day, the ups and downs that give us meaning, and about facing challenges. It's about believing what we stand up for, enjoying the hard work alongside with people that we love working with, and believing that we're working for something that's greater than ourselves. Special shout out to my team, Axiom COO, and my husband, Rakesh Peter, who runs the operations and always has my back. Our director of science, Shima Led, who always brings a fresh perspective and challenges us to think outside the box. Our corporate infrastructure, who makes sure that Axiom runs like a well-oiled machine. Our families for putting up with our crazy schedules. And our most valued team members, our amazing employees. We've all worked together to make this possible. Go Team Axiom.
Okay, hey, thank you very much. And again, thank you for the terrific work that Axiom does to help support the NOAA mission. Moving on to the next award, the winner of the 2022 NOAA Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business of the Year is GenWest Systems. GenWest was nominated by the National Ocean Service for exceeding customer expectations by collaboratively creating a cost recovery information system. This initiative had a significant positive impact on the processing times of documents, ensuring timely repayment of government funds. Their exceptional work directly supported NOAA's ability to recoup costs associated with the assessment and restorations of our nation's waterways. Accepting the award on behalf of GenWest is Mr. John Murphy. Mr. Murphy, over to you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. We're very grateful for this award, and which recognizes the great work of members of the GenWest team supporting NOAA, in this case specifically the cost recovery team. We've had the privilege of working with NOAA the NOAA Office of Response and Restoration for over 40 years, growing our work and our team over time. And it has been just a privilege. They've been wonderful to work with, and because of the quality and dedication of the staff and their seamless integration of affiliates across other contract firms as well as GenWest. We've worked with a number of different agencies through the history of the company, and I must say that working with NOAA has been such a privilege, and the way NOAA integrates into a one team approach, including the contractors and affiliates in making sure that we share the opportunity of being a part of NOAA's critical positive missions of science, services, and stewardship. So we're very grateful for the award and the recognition. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Murphy. And finally, the winner of the 2022 NOAA 8A Small Business of the Year Award goes to Versa Integrated Solutions. Versa Integrated Solutions was nominated by the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer for their exceptional facility support services. Their contract performance has exceeded expectations as they partnered with NOAA to navigate the many challenges associated with the COVID pandemic and is in an unpredictable environment, both on and off site. Additionally, their excellent customer service and communication through a major SSMC consolidation project has had a tremendous positive impact. Accepting the award on behalf of Versa Integrated Solutions is Mr. Joseph Aban and Kevin Mitchell. Mr. Aban and Mr. Mitchell, over to you.
I guess, once again, thank you. I'm Kevin Mitchell, CEO for Versa. Want to thank you for the partnership, that we have with NOAA. Thank you for this award, and I definitely want to thank them for nominating us. It makes it a lot easier when you have a customer that's willing to work with you, and create a true partnership. It's not really like a situation where we run into a lot of times where it's like, okay, you're the contractor, just do this work, just do as I say, you have no input or anything like that. We actually do collaborate together a lot. That's what's made this process so great. I definitely would like to thank, some individuals from NOAA that has really worked with us over the years. Our previous core, Peggy Saylor, who we had probably for about 5 years or so, as well as the new cores that we have, Nana Deo and Todd Sellers. I definitely want to thank them for their partnership and for the process of them nominating us as Small Business of the Year, in the 8A branches. It's a little bittersweet for us because we recently just graduated out of the 8A program. So we kind of just got in by the skin of our teeth to get this award, but it's great nonetheless. And, we are on NOAA Nimitz and other vehicles like that. So, we plan to continue to do the work that we've done at NOAA. But once again, I really just wanted to thank the staff for working with us, and also our staff, to the Versa team, and specifically our PM on site, Michelle Prieto, because she's wonderful. She works with NOAA, directly, and it's just a wonderful relationship. And there's really not much more than I can say about that. I'll let our president, Joseph, say a couple of words also, though.
Yeah, so on behalf of the Versa team, we want to say thank you for this award. We really have enjoyed working with NOAA and continue to enjoy the collaboration and the teamwork. It never seemed one-sided. It's a great group of team and leadership at NOAA, and Versa have always looked forward to their leadership and has helped us as a company to grow and expand. And working together as a team, we really, really appreciate it and looking forward to doing more at NOAA. That's one of the reasons why we are on the NOAA Nimitz vehicle, even though we've graduated from the 8A program. So that means that we can continue working together as a partnership. So looking forward to it, and thank you very much for the award.
All right, thank you all very much, Mr. Aban and Mr. Mitchell. And thank you to all of our award recipients and the many other industry partners who support the NOAA mission, especially those in the small business community. We recognize that without your contributions, dedication, and partnership, we could not be successful in delivering the NOAA mission and, frankly, value to the American people. So thank you to all of our members of our industry partners. So with that concludes the plenary session. And again, want to thank you all for participating in today's event. I believe we're going to take a longer break than anticipated, but we're going to go ahead and get back to the matchmaking sessions. We'll start at noon. So everybody can go and grab a cup of coffee and maybe a little scone or something, and start your matchmaking sessions at noon. Anything else from the Montgomery County?
Just want to thank everybody for joining us today and for the great presentations your team provided, and congratulations to all of your awardees. Well deserved. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you in the matchmaking sessions at noon.
Good luck in matchmaking, everybody.